I've seen it. You got to put out the call. I've seen it. The dam is broken.
On September the 30th, a company-built dam broke, unleashing a tragic torrent of destruction. Many of the 78 victims risked and lost their lives attempting to save others. During a time of crisis, the people of Austin confirmed the truth of their character. In the aftermath, a newsreel of the disaster was shown in theaters across the country. The following is some of that footage.
I came up the street, just down below Bennett's, where Bennett's live now. There was a little house there with a little old lady in there, and I always loved old people. And we kids used to go in there and sew carpet rags and things, you know, for rugs. So I came in there, and Johnny Carson, he lived just 2 doors from here. He was in the kitchen, taking the rust off an old iron bed. About that time, John said, "What would you do, Agnes, if the dam broke?" "Run home, I guess." Wasn't 5 minutes when the whistle blew and the dam broke. Now watch Dr. Mansley come out of the hospital, and he had his horse tied to the hitching post, and he was pulling the hair out of his head because he knew he lost his wife and baby, and he did. And I watched all the debris go down, and all this wood was between the paper mill and the dam. It was coming down, and it was forming clouds, just like white clouds that we have in the sky. And what a roar. It made an awful racket, scared you. Imagine Elson. She jumped between two mattresses, and she floated down over towards the bridge, towards Perry's. And the Bill Gilroy found her in between these 2 mattresses, and she was not hurt. But the mother was drowned, and the father, and the horses. He was quite a man, a very fine man. The next morning, my father went down and found a body back of our chicken coop without any clothes on. And that night, I went down in the yard to look around, and down on the avenue, these houses were forced together. And one house looked just like the saw had taken the whole front off. And I looked up in the bedroom, and there was Mrs. Libby. She was an old lady. She was standing in the corner. And she was shell-shocked. I mean, in the shock, she didn't know. So I ran up and I told my father, I said, "Dad," I said, "you better go up." I said, "Mrs. Libby's up there standing in the bedroom." So he went out and got somebody else to help him, and they brought her
The broken
down.
remains of the Austin Dam still stand, a grim lesson about casting aside common sense, about pitting the power of nature against the power of human ingenuity, about having blind faith in the decision makers of government and industry. To some people, the weather remains are like a forgotten cemetery, the haunting reminder of the real-life desperation of working folk, of everyday people who have to risk and sometimes lose their lives trying to keep a job. To others, the remains are monuments, memorials to remember that when tragedy strikes common people, they often show uncommon human virtue. This is a story about the struggles and the remarkable strengths of the people of Austin, Austin, Pennsylvania. Austin is located high in the Appalachian Mountains of Potter County near Big Lookout. It's a place of rare beauty from which water flows in three directions: north to Lake Ontario, southeast to the Chesapeake Bay, and southwest to the Gulf of Mexico. It's a place with an unusual holiness of its own. Locals call it God's country. Before the European settlers arrived, Big Lookout was a natural paradise. A virgin forest of heaven-bound hemlocks and majestic white pines, alive with fish and wildlife. In 1900, George C. Bayless, the former mayor of Binghamton, New York, offered a new salvation. His good news was that he had chosen Austin as the site to build a paper mill, a mill that would use the very latest advances of modern science and technology. The trees of Big Lookout once more became the hope of Austin. The virgin timbers were gone, but now the scrubby second-growth pulp trees offered a new opportunity. As planned, each day the mill would produce tons of paper from tons of pulpwood.
So in 1906, Bayless Company ended up hiring T. Chalky Hatton, and he was from Wilmington, Delaware. He was the designer of the dam as well as the consultant engineer. The dam was to be 544 feet long, 49 feet high, and 275 million gallons of water. Now, right off the bat, there was a lot of back and forth between Hatton and Bayless. Hatton wanted the footers 9 feet deep, and Bayless only made them 4 feet deep. Hatton wanted a gatehouse. Bayless eliminated that altogether. The water level was to be 40 feet high, and Bayless made it 42 feet. So even though Hatton had objected, he ultimately deferred the final judgment to Bayless. Now, before the dam was filled, cracks started to form, and people obviously seen them and were concerned about the safety. They wondered whether it was because of the hurried pace and that the cement didn't even get a chance to dry, or it was poor quality products or carelessness of workers. But Hatton had looked at all the cracks and examined everything and said that, there was no danger, and the go-ahead was given, and the dam was filled. So now we get to one of my favorite parts of the story, and that's about Miss Cora Brooks. Now, Cora was pretty much raised dirt poor. She had no education, no formal education whatsoever. She was married at age 19 to a drunkard, and she ended up opening a brothel after his death to support the children. Now, the house that Cora had was on the hill up above the dam, and it was considered a den of evil, or where women of the night were. So the house on the hill was known for what could be purchased there, from liquor to gambling, and of course women. But in September of 1911, when millions of gallons of water came rushing into the town of Austin, and towards the town of Austin, because of her quick phone call into town and warning others of the break, only 78 people died, and that's simply because of her phone call and quick reaction. And that said a lot to a lot of people. Now, right before the collapse, she was actually charged with running a house of ill repute. And 3 months after the collapse, she actually went to court for that. Now, the whole town came to her defense, and, they said if it wasn't for her, a lot more people would have died than the 78 that did. They came to her defense, and the judge agreed, but he kept the conviction, and it stood, but he released her with a fine of $200. Now, her relatives if you fast forward, and I think this was, a good 10 years ago now, maybe, but her relatives had actually tried to seek a pardon for Cora from Pennsylvania Governor Tom Corbett at that time, and unfortunately, he didn't grant it. But thankfully, Cora was there. Thankfully, she was there, and warned everybody quickly, because she saved a lot of lives, and I think she should be pardoned, and hopefully they bring that back up again.
Listen, there was a bad house up there, a pleasure place. Dad would just go down to the foot of this. When we pedaled, he'd never go up to the house. They'd come out in their kimonos, and you could see them, just look right through them. Well, I'd pedal with Pa. Dad would just go to the foot. They'd come down, meet him. Of course, they wanted his fruit and stuff, his ice cream, because it was handy. And Dad would wait on them, and they acted respectfully. I didn't see anything wrong with them. Whatever they was doing was their business. And old Dr. Page had to go up there. I wonder what his wife thought. He had to go up there and check on them, examine them, so that they weren't diseased or something. And, you learn a whole lot as you grow up, I'll tell you. Yeah, and they were all beautifully well-dressed. They were beautiful girls. I'll tell you, they looked like queens. They lived downtown. Every Saturday week, kids would go stand by the stand ball where they had ice cream. And they always went in there and had their ice cream and soda, and then buy different things. And we'd stand there and admire those girls, how beautiful they were. And of course, we were kids. We didn't know what they were.
So what you thought of Cora wasn't really important, because the simple fact of the matter is that morning in September of 1911, when Cora made that telephone call, the town of Austin was bustling with daily activities like normal. And what followed was a wall of water that caused devastation, destruction.
As I ran to the
and
hillside,
despite
I could
early
see
warning,
houses
78
tossing
deaths.
like corks, bumping against one another, spinning and splintering into pieces. I was petrified when I saw the steeple of the Presbyterian Church crumble, then fall upon Senator Baldwin's home. I knew the senator's crippled father and his blind mother would never be able to survive.
Despite its devastation, Austin has continued to survive to this day, and although only 482 people compared to over 3,000 in 1911, it still has a charm and an atmosphere that one will truly enjoy upon visiting, both downtown and the historic sites downtown, and to the Memorial Park and the Bayless ruins. And I'm actually going to leave you with some footage of what's left of the Bayless paper mill. Believe it or not, it actually survived the dam break. It actually survived for another 33 years. But ultimately it closed because of a fire in 1944. And that was the end of the Bayless. But I do have some footage of it. You can get to it. There's several paths to get you down into the remains. However, I will, as always, warn you. You are there at your own risk. There are some dangerous spots and dangerous conditions. Stuff is starting to crumble and fall. So use your head when you're there. Don't do anything stupid. So thanks, guys, for joining me on another can't miss location. How'd I do? Have you ever been to Austin? Let me know in the comments if you have, and if there's anything I should have covered that you think I should have covered. And listen, please like, subscribe, so you don't miss out on new content. It really helps me out. I appreciate it, guys. Have a good one. I'll see you the next time.